Mr. Redgrave, your career suggests thoughtful planning on your part. Is this true?
I'd hardly say that, except that being a non-contract artist, for the most part, I've had a free choice, within, of course, the framework of being a stage actor as well.
Yes. Now, how do you select the parts that you decide to play in films?
Well, it's very hard to say, I suppose. One thing, though, I very often choose the ones that I think are difficult.
Difficult in what way?
Difficult in any way. I like, for instance, or rather I happen to believe that most parts are character parts, that you transform yourself to some degree or other. Yeah. That doesn't apply to some of the very best actors and actresses on the screen or stage, but it applies to me.
Do you think a studio could have chosen your career as well as you have?
I don't know. I doubt it. I think that very likely they would have chosen one aspect of me and made me repeat that until everybody was tired of it.
Now, these successful actors who've always played within the limits to a certain extent of their own personality have surely an easier job, in a sense, than you have, characterizing each part.
I'm not sure that it's easier. I think you could make a very good case for saying that the most difficult thing of all is to be yourself.
But you surely find it difficult to characterize such widely diverse characters that you've played in your career.
It's difficult on screen because of the time element and the expense. You don't have time, as you do in the theatre, for 3 or 4 weeks fumbling around in rehearsals, and suddenly one day you hit it. You've got to go on the set and do it like that. For instance, in the Browning version, where I played an elderly schoolmaster, I had to start off, for reasons of, well, we won't go into them now, with my last scene.
Yes.
And so hit the character and the climax of the role at once.
Now, this must make a tremendous demand on you, particularly in concentration. Is that the main consideration in filming, do you think, concentration?
I think it's the main consideration in acting anyway.
Now, a lot of directors are, in fact, rehearsing before they start filming at the moment. Do you approve of this?
I have done it once or twice, and I've always welcomed it. But I'm not sure that it helps the actor so much as the technician.
Well, why should this? Yes, why should it be true that obviously rehearsal is essential for the theatre, and why should it not help in filming?
Well, for one thing, you go on continually rehearsing in the theatre until you've made the finished product, and in films you rehearse for perhaps 2 or 3 weeks. Then it may be 6 or 7 weeks before you get to the scene that you've rehearsed. Mm-hmm. By which time you may want to do it quite differently. There are all sorts of ways of doing the same scene, as you know.
Well, how then do you prepare yourself, for instance, for a part like the Browning version or this last one you played?
It's very hard to describe. And to fall back on a description I've used before, I think it's more a question of thinking around the subject than thinking on the subject, so that, like a field that lies fallow, when the sowing is done, the thing will grow.
Now, when a film is based on a novel, like The Quiet American, for instance, does the novel come into this growing of the character? Do you study the novel a great deal while you're filming?
Well, I should be able to say yes, of course I do, but I don't. If I can help it, I don't. I had read The Quiet American with enormous enthusiasm before being asked to make it, and when I was asked to make it, I almost wished I hadn't, because all that the actor has to go on is the script. And very often reading a novel, especially a full-length, detailed novel with a lot of atmosphere in it and a lot of motivations, conflicting motivations often, you think that you're presenting all those things which have come into your mind through the printed page, whereas in fact you're not. You've only got what is on the typewritten script.
Yes, good point. You were talking of atmosphere. Does the atmosphere of working on a location help you, for instance, in...
Oh, well, enormously.
Yes.
Especially, of course, if the location work comes before the studio work.
Yes.
Especially in a case like The Quiet American, where the location is something completely foreign to oneself. I had never been to the Far East before, and those 7 weeks or whatever it was helped me get into the feeling of what we were talking about, what we were acting, what we were trying to be,
Yes.
as nothing else could have done.
Now, I know that, of course, you're appearing in a play at the moment. Have you spotted another film that you particularly want to do, a part that you want to play?
Well, as I won't be able to do another film until the end of this year anyway, I haven't been thinking on those terms yet.
Well, Mr. Redgrave, I know that all our viewers will be waiting to see your next film. It's much interest they've watched the ones in the past.
Thank you.
Thank you.